April 2nd, 2024 council meeting as presented. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. None noted. Public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to any item of business on the agenda, 2 minutes per person. Members wishing to speak will need to state their name and the item of business that they wish to speak to. Okay, please say your name, Mr. Tiffin.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dave Tiffin. I'm the Wingham resident and current chair of the Wingham BIA. I'd like to address item 7.4.4 on this evening's agenda in regards to the theater. The theater has become very successful in drawing in well-known artists to perform, which in turn brings in residents from all over southwestern Ontario to attend the shows and see what else Wingham has to offer. The more well-known entertainers often like to perform at smaller venues like Wingham through the week and larger centers on the weekends, which makes perfect sense. Not having an option for weekday evening performances would be a severe drawback. The Wingham BIA has been approached to do operation oversight of the theater, excluding bookings at this time. The BIA is totally on board with this idea. However, we have not yet been asked for any input on theater operations. I would ask the council defer any decision on the 4 options presented in the Town Hall Theater Operations Report until the BIA has had a chance to offer input and suggestions. As noted on page 149 of this evening's agenda, 4 options presented tonight are.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tiffin. Were there any more comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to consent agenda. That the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts the consent item 5.1.1 and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 5.1.2 to 5.3.8 for information purposes. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Henderson, Councillor Whitfield. I'm asking now if anybody wants to bring anything forward. Go ahead. We have Councillor Palmer and then Councillor Wright.
That had to do with tile loan increases. It's $50,000 a year right now, and tiling your farm, the rate has the last 10 years is doubled, so it's up to 2008 now. So substantial dollars when a farmer decides to do this. They would like to see it at $100,000, whatever it is. It'd be nice if it would be an increase anyway. So be a letter from Lisa Thompson as well. And the other one is 5 through 7. And it's a letter supporting the city of Brantford's resolution of the home heating sustainability. So it's excluding the carbon tax from home heating.
Thank you. That's been noted. Okay, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, thanks, Reeve. So I'd like to pull 5.2.5 and 5.2.7. Really just my comment for 5.2.5 is it's too bad Mr. Krieger isn't here today, but I thought that was actually a fabulous report. It was very well detailed, and I had no idea how much training they have to go through, how much education they have to go through. It was really informative, and I just wanted to recognize that as being a very good report. With 5.2.7, a little bit more of a discussion on that. We've seen our memberships at the Westcast Complex drop by almost half since the fees were increased. And I don't expect that we know, but I guess the question is, when will we know if the changes we've made to date are going to leave us in a better financial position than before the fee increase? Because, for the amended resolution of the adopted fee increase last year, we only increased the fees partially, right? And there's another fee increase coming this fall. So, there may have to be some work done between now and then to understand if that remaining fee increase is a good idea, if it's actually gonna be, hurt over our overall financial position.
Okay, go ahead,
Thank you, Reeve Heffer, and through you to Councillor Wright. Your point is taken, and certainly we are into the second quarter of this operating period, and we can continue to oversee what the impact is with our registration numbers and with participation, and happy to report on that going forward. But also happy to also reach out to our current users and get some feedback on what they're experiencing, and provide that as a report to council at a later date.
thank you very much. Okay, anyway, go ahead, Councillor Van Henderson, please.
5.2.5, the fire report. I would like to congratulate them with recruiting 7 new people, 7 new firefighters. I think that's amazing, and it's a wonderful thing for the community to have 7 new firefighters join the fire department. This is very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, for sure. Okay, I'll turn over to our clerk at this time.
So if the mover and seconder are fine with the amendments requested from Councillor Palmer, your motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts consent item 5.1.1, and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 5.1.2 to 5.3.8, exclusive of 5.3.2 and 5.3.7 for information purposes. So Councillor Van Henderson is the mover and Councillor Whitfield's the seconder.
Okay, all in favor? Carried.
And then your second motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby directs staff to send letters of support for agenda items 5.3.2 and 5.3.7.
You fine with
You need a mover and a second.
mover, Councillor Palmer, seconder, Councillor Van Henderson, all in favor? Carried.
Excuse me, Reeve, are we gonna capture that there will be a report generated on the review of the rec fees?
Oh, right, like how do you want that presented?
So yeah, that should be through council direction. So if that's something council's looking for, you can pass a motion as that as well.
Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, so I'll move that there just be a review of the rec fee increases with the idea of a lead up to our annual review
Mhm.
of fee increases to see if we want to maintain or go ahead with that predetermined fee increase or not.
They have a mover. All in favor? Carried. Public meetings, hearings and delegations. First of all, we'd like to welcome a person here that's worked for a long, long time, 38 years. Carol, I'd like you to come to up to the podium there. Just appreciate for the work that you have done for our municipality. You've worked for 38 years, but the last 17 and a half years, you've been at North Huron, and appreciate all the work that you did with the kids from little ones up to a little bit higher. And I know from past experience that you've worked with 4-H kids and whatnot. I guess that's where I got to know you, and you talk about people getting under pressure when she's watching what you're doing. It's makes it very interesting. But Carolyn has been very dedicated to our quality of care up here, and we just appreciate all the work of years that you put up with these little children, and I know they're going to miss you, and it's going to be hard, but I'm sure they're going to find some people that are going to be able to fill your shoes too. And again, we just like to present you with plaque of the years you put in for us. We're getting the camera ready here. I used to referee with this gal's son, and I didn't put it together until I saw it again.
Thank you very much.
Finance Department, 7.2.1, allocation of cash donations. I guess I'll just, are there any questions for Director Towns at this time before we go into the motion? This is dealing with the museum funds and for the daycare funds that are there. Any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Yes, thank you very much. This is regarding the funds from the museum.
Yes.
I think it would be important to keep those funds in the community, and if we can do something about the Alice Munro exhibit, those are really tied to the Wingham community, and these funds were raised in the community. So if we could put them towards the Alice Munro display or something like that, if there's a separate account for that, or would that be possible? Or would that be a suggestion?
Go ahead, Councillor or Mr. Towns.
Through your effort to Councillor Hitterson. We donate to the Alice Munro Foundation every year through the annual budgeting process, through the economic development budget. So if it were council's direction to deliver these funds through them, I would recommend that we would follow the same approach and just I would deposit the funds into our general account and contribute that to the Alice Munro Foundation.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks through you, Reeve. Yeah, the annual donation is for the Alice Munro Festival. I think what it would be is a donation to Huron County Libraries with the stipulation that be used for display at the Alice Munro Library here in Wingham.
And that's what,
That's what I
okay,
mean.
so you'll second her motion?
I'll second that. Yes, Reeve.
Okay, thank you. You want to read that?
Well, so I guess you'd be adding that to the original motion. So the motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the report of the Director of Finance Treasurer dated April 2nd, 2024 regarding the allocation of donations for information purposes. And further, that council directs the Director of Finance Treasurer to transfer all funds from the museum operations fundraising bank account to the Huron County libraries to support an Alice Munro exhibit. And further, that council directs the Director of Finance Treasurer to close the museum operations fundraising bank account. And further, that council directs the Director of Finance Treasurer to transfer all funds from the daycare fundraising bank account into the daycare reserve fund. And further, that council directs the Director of Finance Treasurer to close the daycare fundraising bank account.
Okay. So I got to move her in a second. Okay. Any other questions for Director Towns? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. It's just more along the lines that you're speaking. How do we know, like if we give it to the Huron County Museum, how does it get directed back to the Alice Munro? I thought we would maybe just do it here in-house. Or how does it work?
Through you, Councillor Reeve, Heffer to Councillor Palmer. I will follow council's direction. I will support and follow council's direction. So if you wish to hand deliver it to the local Alice Munro Foundation or festival hosts, we can do that. It's at council's direction.
Okay, so I have to get a-
So it depends what direction you want to provide. Right
Okay.
now, the funds would be provided to the county for an Alice Munro exhibit. If that wasn't what Councillor Van Hitterson and Councillor Wright are looking for, we can look to amend that motion.
Yeah, just to add more information, Reeve, there is actually work ongoing right now about creating a display at the Alice Munro Library. So it's kind of not just a ideological thing. There is actually work going on, and they're actually taking some of the museum exhibits from the museum and planning to display them there. So I'm sure if we donate the the money to the Huron County libraries, with the request that it be, money be used for that, you know, they'll follow that because it's an ongoing project.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. 7.4.1 by law enforcement, animal control officer services. That the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives the report from the Director of Public Works Facilities dated April 2nd, 2024 regarding by law enforcement animal control officer services for information purposes. And further, that council directs the Director of Legislative Service / clerk to prepare a bylaw authorizing the Reeve and clerk to sign an agreement with the Municipal Support Service Incorporated for a 1-year term for by law enforcement and animal control officer services for the April 15th, 2024 council meeting. And further, that council directs the Director of Legislative Service / clerk to prepare an updated by law enforcement officer and animal control officer appointment bylaws for April 15th, 2024 council meeting. And further, that council authorize the Director of Finance Treasurer to reallocate the by law enforcement animal control officer salary and benefits for the approval of 2024 operating budget to inspections contracts to fulfill the terms and conditions of the agreement. A mover and a seconder before we have any discussion. Councillor Whitfield, Councillor Palmer. Discussion for Director Fortney at all, please. Pretty self-explanatory in the report. All in favor? Carried. 7.4.2 Public Works 2024/14 North Huron soccer fields. Are there any questions for Director Fortney on this? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hedges, and I'll turn over to Councillor Wright.
Thank you very much, Reeve. I was wondering if we as a municipality have any negotiations or talks with the school board about this, because the high school has 2 soccer fields, and they are paid by the taxpayers as well, the school board. So I was wondering if there's a possibility that maybe the high school soccer fields that are in so much trouble apparently can be refurbished or whatever you call it, updated, be made better. If that's something that can be done, I don't know.
Through your brief effort at Councillor Van Hitterson. So certainly we have not talked to the school board about their fields. I was going to enter into those kind of discussions when we got a little bit further with the delegation request for the Wingham soccer. This report speaks more directly to the Blythe Ward soccer with the Blythe Kids Club. And so that's who I've been talking with. And then, of course, North Huron owns the campground. So it'd be up to us to decide what is best for the municipality.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, through you, Reeve. So just my thoughts on this, request. I support putting a soccer field in Blythe. I guess I'll just start with that. But we already went through our budget process recently and identified what 2024, projects we're gonna do. This wasn't on the list. So I don't think we should be, rehashing it, again so soon. And also, we just put in our new policy with regards to how groups like this can work with the municipality in order to, come with a proposal about partial fundraising and these kinds of things, so that it's a shared responsibility between the local group that wants the facilities and of course council's use of taxpayer funds. So it's an option that I would put forward. It's not really one of the 4 options here. It may be most closely aligns with option 4, but I think my thought is that we should be encouraging the local group to use that new policy which we created, do some canvassing, figure out about, with a ballpark about how much they think that they can fundraise locally, and then follow the process, right? Come make a presentation to council. And then, council can make a decision on that for the 2025 budget year. So that's my thoughts on that, Reeve.
You. Okay, I think, Counselor Palmer, oh, sorry, go ahead, Deputy Reed, please.
Thank you. I think that the same sentiment from Councilor Wright is encapsulated in option one, allowing them to go after fundraising for providing for the necessities of facilitating for the soccer field. It would just be up to North Huron to designate a certain square footage where they could put it. That saying, the soccer associations that are currently in North Huron, the northern wards have had access to 4 fields throughout the township and 1 outside of the township for many years. The ones in the southern and in the Blythe ward have not had any municipal participants in any of the soccer facilities. I've seen the need and I've seen the passion for the personnel from the Blythe Club putting their time and effort into the making teams and they've attained the equipment for the field at all. They're just looking for a flat surface for the kids to run on. I think that could be accommodated in the Blythe North Huron's allocation of recreational facilities at its current location, wherever it may be. It's not being utilized to its full potential. Every day of the week. It's 1 week a year that the facility is fully used. I think it would be well within council's direction to allow them to at least go out and see what as an option one, what the possibility of donors within the area would be willing to participate in. Not much different than the East Wallinash is wanting to putting in swing sets for the facility. And on that note, North Huron has no cash value in any children's park in the Blythe ward as far as swing sets or playgrounds or anything. That's been left to service groups. This is nothing less than allowing another service group to provide that facility for us. I think to not allow them to facilitate their own ends with their own means would be a disservice. I think personally, I think it's encapsulated in option one. My own personal opinion is I think any asset of North Huron that we have that's owned by North Huron should be fully subsidized by North Huron and kept up to the best of ability of any asset or not have it. Many times the municipality has been unfortunate, has ascertained assets for $1 or $2, but then been expected to upkeep the facilities for lineage, and that's not turned out to be a fair shake. So this isn't asking much, and this is just they're just asking for the opportunity to try and facilitate their needs. Thank you.
I'll go to Counselor Palmer, then Counselor McBurney. Okay, please.
Yes. Yes, I have option one is one that I choose. I'd like to see them find a partner. Maybe they already have one, don't know, but it'd be nice for that to happen. That's the start. And then to start raising money. And that just shows the interest in the town. And then we can't do anything as far as budgetary means this year anyway, so it gives them a year. Fundraising always takes time, so it gives them that opportunity. However, there's one issue that I do have, and that's how the field works with the Thrashers weekend, because I know how tractors, especially old ones, how they what they do to grass. So it would have to be a deal with the Thrashers that they, like, you can't even park cars on a soccer field. So I'm not sure what the usage would be. We'd have to make sure that Thrashers are all right to set that little bit aside and to not utilize. That's the only way to make a field resilient and to last from year to year. I'd like to move to we do need to get a report eventually as to the Hutton Height end, see what happens there. And there is an issue with the fields at the high school. So, pardon me, it's either the high school or the public school. The field, this is from one of the soccer administrators, I think, that deal with them up there, and the field is in very, very poor shape. It was not done properly as a, I know it's maybe out of our hands if the school owns it, but the field is in not good shape. It doesn't grow well, and it's just pot marked. So the kids have trouble there. But anyways, that was just a little bit on the side, but option one is what I favor.
And would I be appropriate to ask Public Works, Mr. Fortney, about the land thing there? Would you get some information back on that?
Through your Reef Heifer, could you please clarify?
Like the land, the Thrashers, are they going to allow the use of a field there? Like
Certainly.
be my question.
oh, okay.
I apologize, sir. The option one specifically outlines that the Thrashers would have to give some sort of approval prior to any kind of construction. And so that discussion has been happening between members, but I'm told at a recent meeting that they hadn't discussed it at the executive level yet and made a decision. So I'm kind of taking a step back from that process, but I will certainly follow up with both groups, depending on what council directs us to do tonight.
That was your question, Councillor McBurney?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Deputy Reed, please.
Yes, through your Reef. The property that we're talking about is owned by North Huron.
Mhm.
It's rented or leased for a week by a nonprofit organization. The other 51 weeks of the year is responsibility of North Huron to maintain, cut, do with what we will. The square footage of what the Thrashers have used or using has been shrinking for many years. They don't use the full camping grounds, and there are the gravel spaces are where the tractors and steam engines go. I don't know of any time through the last 10 years that a steam engine or tractor has torn up grass that had to be repaired at that facility. So the onus of that a tractor, can't be on here, can't be on there's many spaces there. I don't think it would be much of a stretch to find suitable square footage for a soccer field that's not in use by either organization or North Huron. But I just want to mention, but 51 weeks a year, it is our responsibility to our taxpayers, not to the organization that rents it. As far as an onus of where taxpayer dollars go. So just putting the onus on, and yes, we need to work in collaboration with the Thrashers, but we are the owners of that property, and it is in our governance to figure out what is to be done with that property. Thank you.
Okay. Clerk, go ahead.
Yeah, so just kind of pointing out the last sentence of option one, right? It says written approval of the project by the Huron Pioneer Thrashers Association should be required in advance of any fundraising. So I'm just not sure I'm just not sure if the idea is to strike that sentence from option one or to keep it in there, just given the members' comments.
Go ahead, Deputy
Thank you,
Reeve,
through you,
please.
Reeve. As far as my personal knowledge knows by talking about to both groups, that they've both been in conversation with each other over this this endeavor, and I think that they were very close to being in compliance with this endeavor. It's not that it's been gone silent. They have talked back and forth, so I can't concur as to what their conversation has been, but I do know that they are in conversation with each other.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Clerk Lamb, please.
So based on the discussion here, it sounds like there's an interest in option one. So your motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the report of the Director of Public Works and Facilities dated April 2nd, 2024 regarding the North Huron soccer fields for information purposes. And further, that council directs staff to proceed with option number one as outlined in staff report PW 2024-14.
May I have a mover? Counselor Van Hitterson, seconder. Counselor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. On to 7.4.3. Hut Knights easement. That the Council of Township of North Huron hereby receives the report from the Director of Public Works and Facilities dated April 2nd, 2024 regarding a Hut Knights easement agreement for information purposes, and further that the council adopts bylaw 2024 being a bylaw to authorize the Reeve and clerk to sign on behalf of the council an easement agreement between the Corporation of Township of North Huron and Kelly Lynn Miller, Gregory Earl Phillips, Randy Roy Phillips, and Linda Louise Wagner to facilitate the location of in-ground drainage infrastructure on portion of the lands described Part 1 on Registered Plan 22R 7366. And further, that the council authorize the Director of Finance Treasurer to withdraw the necessary funds from the sale of property reserve fund to fulfill the terms and conditions of the easement agreement. May I have a mover and a seconder before questions? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Palmer, are there any questions for our Director Fortney at all? Very straightforward in the report. All in favor? Carried. 7.4.4. FA 2024-01 Wingham Town Hall Theater Operations Parameters. I won't read the motion right now. I'm going to pass to Director of Public Works and Facilities if he'd like to share anything to us.
Thank you, Reeve Heffer. Through you to council. The purpose of this report is to seek council's direction regarding the scheduling of the Wingham Town Hall Theater, as well as to seek council's direction regarding the use of the former council chambers space as a green room. The hope is that we can get some definitive direction and then update the Town Hall Theater rental agreement appropriately. There is no doubt that the Town Hall Theater and its volunteer base that runs most aspects of the events are both invaluable assets to the community. Although the actual financial impact to the local downtown core business space isn't easily extrapolated, it is obvious that bringing new and existing people to the downtown core has some positive economic impacts directly and indirectly. Currently, the Wingham Town Hall Theater is available for setup starting at 8:30 in the morning and sound checks after 2 p.m. and that's Monday to Friday, or Monday to Sunday. All performances to date are in the evening. The municipal office is also open from Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. Weekday performances that need to set up and do sound checks during municipal office hours have been challenging. There's additional noise, reduced space for staff to congregate on breaks, additional people in the building. Sometimes all the entrances to the building are being used to get the equipment up to the theater for setup. There have been health and safety concerns and confidentiality and security concerns. Staff are looking to council to set the parameters for operation. Staff have outlined 4 options, but council may have others for consideration. Each option speaks to the green space as well. On the topic of the green space, there was no staff report to follow up with report CS 2018-08, which was a green room space report. And this report suggested that there could be a 12-month trial to use the former council chambers, kitchenette, and back hallway of the town hall as a green room for the event, for event staff, acts, and organizers. Since the end of the trial and through the COVID years, this has continued and is built into the existing rental agreement. Staff have shared their concerns over confidentiality and security with senior management team. The former council chambers is now a full-time office space for 4 employees, including our chief building official and sometimes our Huron County planner. The space is really not ideal for a theater green room. The crews are getting larger and their expectations are very different from the reality when they roll into our facility. To that point, some event organizers have started bringing in their own coach buses as a green space venue. If council is interested in the theater business and wants to help grow it, staff could be directed to investigate and report back on possible alternative green room options. Lastly, there will be an upcoming Town Hall Theater report that will address a proposal by the Wingham BIA. Before that report comes forward, staff believe it's important to set out the operational parameters of the event space before discussing other possible changes to the current process. Thank you.
Thank you. So after reading that report, are there questions that you'd like to give towards our Director Fortney at this time? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Reeve. Well, option 2, I don't like it because it restricts, it may restrict some big acts. And there seems to be more and more of them. Option 3, it may hurt the almost famous players. And number 4, restricting it to 6 rentals a year, well, that's restricting the use of the hall and the profitability of it and all that. So, you know, then it makes option 1, the status quo. But I'd like to suggest we have a great room back here, and it was built to be used by staff whenever it's needed. And during maybe these times, anyone that is unduly affected by noise and whatever else in the office, maybe they should just go up here. Like, is that that's an option. Just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. We'll go to Councillor McBurney, then Councillor Wright, please.
Excuse me, to you, Reeve, I disagree. I feel like we're pushing the people who are trying to run the township out of their workplaces. Keep it to the weekends and stuff like that. These big bands, the place isn't built for all that. Anyway, that's my comments.
Councillor Wright, please.
Yes, thanks for your, yeah, this topic has come up as a conversation point at the Wingham BA meetings. I think we should actually defer this to a later meeting. There's 1 or 2 members on the Wingham BAA which have lots of experience with this. They've talked to the performers. They've helped run wires and make small modifications to the theater to facilitate performances. And I think they could come up with some so a bit more nuanced and detailed ideas than are presented in the report. So, you know, we did have a request from the BIA that there be some consultation between the BIA, which is going to take over management of the theater with this with the options in this report. And, you know, I don't think waiting another couple of weeks to make a decision to allow time for that consultation to happen will make much of a difference. I see the need. I see the issues with having big bands and stuff like that. I just don't think any of these 4 options is quite hitting the nail on the head. And I'm hopeful if the BIA has a chance to provide some consultation that we might get a better option for all concerned.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from council members? Okay, so So I guess my question would be to I'll pass it over to the Director of Public Works. Could a week's time allow you to get together with BIA? It's just a thought. Would that be able and see if a lot of these things can be alleviated?
Through your Reeve Heifer, certainly that would be welcome. But as per the additional report coming to council, this is just a proposal by the BIA. You folks will have the final say on whether you agree with the proposal or not, but that's
for sure.
coming. And the idea again behind this report was to find the parameters so that we can move forward with the BIA proposal if you agree. Because obviously confidentiality and security issues, health and safety of staff are a primary concern for senior management.
Hey, I'd like to have a motion given by somebody. Go ahead, Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thanks. Through your, so I'll make a motion that we just defer this report until staff has had time to take consultation with the Wingham BIA and maybe some better development of some of the operating options with the theater going forward.
Could we have a time limit on that though?
Well, I don't want to put too much of a time limit. I think 1 month would be should be sufficient time, but if certainly if the report can be delivered by the next council meeting, that'd be good too. But I mean, yeah, I'll say within a month, that should give sufficient time.
Hey, I have a mover. Councillor Palmer. Yep. Seconder. Councillor Palmer, sorry. Hey, any other questions for Director Fortney at all? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And having the people with the BIA here, they'll hear all the discussion that's gone on and the reasoning for this, so it'll help their decision too, what they have to come up with. Appreciate them coming out tonight. 7.61 EM 2024-01 Military Emergency Management Training Exercise at the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives a report of the CAO dated April 2nd, 2024 regarding military emergency management training exercise for Huron and Bruce counties for information purposes. And further, that the Director of Legislative Services / clerk be authorized to sign the necessary rental agreements with the Canadian military for emergency management training exercise scheduled to take place in May 24. May I have a mover and seconder before we go to our CAO? Councillor Wright, Councillor Van Hitterson. At this time, CAO, did you have anything you want to say? As a good report you gave us there of what all is going to be happening. It's going to be a busy time, but do you have anything further to say?
Yeah, thanks, Reeve Heifer. Nothing in particular other than, as council's aware, we have an annual training exercise requirement that we need to do to satisfy provincial legislation. So we typically will do that exercise in the fall, but this is certainly an opportunity for us to take it to a different scale, a different level, and it will certainly be a learning opportunity for all the members of the Emergency Management Control Group, which includes the Reeve and Deputy Reeve, as well as staff. So certainly see a lot of benefits to us participating in this exercise. In addition to us participating, there are other Huron County lower tier municipalities also participating. So opportunity to learn among ourselves, but an opportunity to learn from our neighboring municipalities. So this is viewed as a win-win all across the board.
So any questions for our CAO? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, it's not really a question. I just wanted to appreciate staff's attitude for this, because it doesn't sound like every municipality looked at it as worth the effort and whatever. And I agree, it does seem to be a real win-win. So I'm just, happy the fact that staff are looking at this as an opportunity to be realized as opposed to extra work to be avoided. So thanks.
Yes. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Yes, I'm pleased that this is happening, and it's gonna occur before the big camping season occurs anyway, or happens anyways. And the fee, pleased to see the fee. We're not gonna come out of it as huge winners monetarily, but at least it'll cover the expenses. Happy with that, and and maybe the town can benefit with all these soldiers running around.
So be long. Counselor Wright, please.
Yeah, just one question. I am just curious about what kind of communication plan we're gonna have, because this is gonna be a big presence, right? So I just wonder what communication plan, like, would it maybe be to the extent of having radio ads, to kind of grab a large market? I'm just curious. Yes, to the public, yes.
I think the deputy.
Oh,
does
go
the
ahead,
deputy wanna
Deputy.
comment?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, through you, Reeve. Yes, that's been conveyed to the Canadian Armed Forces multiple times, right from the beginning. And they said that they are in control of that. They have the wider band of communications through the CBC and the radio, and that we have been assured on many occasions that is going to happen. But as we all sit around here, this is April 2nd, and this is going to be happening, by May. We have 4 weeks, and we have yet to hear anything. So unfortunately, that is in the arms and the eyes and the hands of the Canadian Armed Forces, and they work in mysterious ways as to when they're going to let everyone know. I have to say, on the onset or the preset to everything, they were coming no matter what we did, and they're coming no matter what we do. So they work on a little different need to know basis. So, but we've been pushing them at every meeting to, get out that you're coming and what are you going to do? And I have to say it's fluid. Every time we talk to them, their MO changes as to where they're going, what they're going to do, and even to the other municipalities as far down as Exeter and almost into Middlesex, that where they may take their exercise to, have not been informed that they're even coming yet. So we've been fortunate to be on the forefront of knowing what we know now. But on the advertising side, I can say that we've been pushing them for every single time that we come and talking to all of their liaisons and trying to express how difficult it is. Our job is to, if suddenly 400 Army personnel show up knocking door to door, that what kind of a chaos that could cause. So I'm putting the onus back on them that hopefully that will happen shortly and happen quickly. There are some things that we as a municipality can do, but we can't do it until we're initiated by the armed forces in order to put that communique out. So we're kind of at a catch-22 position where this is supposed to be a surprise or kind of an organization as far as what they're going through, but the municipalities need to know what's going on. But I'm hoping that happens. But as I say, we're at their mercy.
Go ahead, Counselor Palmer, please.
I think the Russians already know they're coming, but anyways, can we have it on our website for sure? And we can do all that we can do anyways, as far as making it a public. Once do we need to be given the go-ahead by them? Then do it.
Go ahead, CAO, please.
Yes, through your Reeve Pepper, as Deputy Reeve has commented, just in terms of the rollout, the education piece. So certainly, as or when that information becomes available, we will be rolling it out through our networks, our social media networks. We've certainly, in terms of encouraging them for radio announcements and all the social media and marketing that we can do to get the word out there in the community. So we're certainly going to do that, but as Deputy Reeve has indicated, they will communicate that to us and then we will communicate that out, is how that works. So
I guess one thing I can take after sitting around those meetings, they're protecting our country, so I trust that they know what they're doing, so. I guess that's why we're here and they're out there doing this, and I know it's going to change the landscape for North Huron for a little bit of time, especially down in Blythe, when they're going to take about 3 weeks of getting the campsite and using work there, and there's going to be fire going on at the emergency spot down there, and it's going to be a busy time for sure. Looking very much forward to it. Okay. Carried. All in favor? Carried. 8.1 Blythe BA Letter of Ratification of the BIA Board appointees that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby approves the new appointments to the Blythe Business Improvement Area BIA Board for the remainder of 2022-2026 term of council as per letter from Chair Cullen dated March 14th, 2024. And further, that council directs the appointment to boards and committees by law to be updated to reflect the appointments. May I have a mover? Councillor McBurney, seconder? Councillor Van Hitterson? Okay, I guess these names are all out. We all saw them. Go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. I have a question from the BIA board. In their membership, does the secretary, the one that's carrying or making the notes of the meeting, does the secretary have to be a member of the board, or can there be a secretary appointed to take notes?
Yep. So through your worship, to answer Deputy Falconer's question, the way the Constitution is set up is yes, the secretary would be a member of the board. The secretary is one of the 4 members of the BIA executive that in an emergency can act in the absence of the board. So it would definitely be prudent that the secretary is a member.
Now, as a board of committee or board of committee of council, is there application for the municipality to provide a secretary?
So technically your BIA, yes, it's a local board of council, but it's also at an arm's length. BIAs do have the ability to have their own staff for something like that. Has not been the practice here. There have been times historically when staff have attended those meetings. I don't recall, but I don't believe they were ever in a secretarial capacity. Generally, our clerk's department resources are stretched thin at times. I mean, it's always an option of council, but past history has been that the BIA boards have provided their own secretary. And that's the arrangement with the Wingham BIA as well.
Because there's been, they've been afforded the opportunity that they've had people come forward that would be secretary, but they're not a business owner. They're actually employees of one of the businesses that would do it on behalf of the board, would do the secretarial, taking the minutes and such. But yeah, that was just what they wanted me to ask, whether that was accessible or not. So thank you for answering that question.
Okay, I got a mover in a second. All in favor? Carried. (9.1) Reeves Activity Report. I was asked to give a welcome from North Huron at the District C Legion Zone meeting. There's 13 different legions there. And I was able to reiterate to them that we're very fortunate. We have one at the bottom end and the north end of our municipality, and the work that goes on there, as we all know from Mr. McBurney, that the work that goes on, it's great. And so I feel we're very fortunate to have two Legion teams in North Huron. Source water protection. I had a tour of the Grand Band water plant. It can take 4.5 million liters of water a day. it's allowed to. Right now, they're doing a little bit over 2 million plus a day using. But they could take up to double that amount if they want to. They fill the 4-foot diameter pipe that goes 151 kilometers from Grand Bend down to top of Arva, down to London, but it's 300 feet. It's got to be pushed up by the time it hits Arva, about the highest location there. Then they're planning putting in big cement troughs. They will be big to hold more, just because of the growing. We see the difference. And Oneida Nation is it's 25 kilometers away, and they're going to be hooking up there, if not this year, next year. So again, it keeps expanding. And just at home here now, we just want to say thanks to the Lions for putting on the Easter egg hunt. A lot of happy kids were down at the Crookshank Park there. It just was good to see all these little kiddos out and having a ball. So at this time, I'll ask for members, board, committee reports. Are there any? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, thanks for your Reeve. So I'll just give a little bit of an update on the Alice Munro Festival for this year. So the dates June 5th to the 9th. They have quite a busy schedule this year. They're doing some things they haven't done before. There's a live theater production going on the Harvest Stage called Post Alice. That's running for 3 days. And they have visiting authors, which they do every year. And then they have some other things like some film presentations and things like that. So the committee certainly has tried to step it up a notch as far as, post-COVID kind of getting it ramped up, and do have a long-term vision of growing this to make it, kind of a recognized event on the art stage. And it does seem to be working. They, obviously they have submissions of short stories every year for the contest, and this year they had 280 submissions, which is a 58% increase from last year, and youth they had 105 submissions, which is a 38% increase. So the final so the tickets for Post Alice are available now. The final schedule and tickets haven't been published quite yet for the rest of the festival, but they should be coming out here very shortly. So yeah, things are rounding into shape for that, and it looks like it's going to be a good year.
Good, thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead. Yep. Okay. Any comments by members? All been a quiet week, has it? Okay, good. I'm sure things are going to be picking up soon for sure. Are there any notice of motions? Council members, board?
Yep. If I may, your worship. So Councillor McBurney has provided notice of his motion. So that will appear on the April 15th council agenda for council to have a discussion and vote on.
Yeah, for sure. Good. That's in our on our agenda package for sure. Go down bylaws now. 10.1. Bylaw number 2023-2024, adoption of Human Resources Policy Manual. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder. Councillor Wright. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 2024-2024, easement agreement for Hutton Heights. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Hitterson. Councillor Whitfield. All in favor? Carried. Next meetings and announcements. The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, April 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in North Huron Council Chambers, 271 Francis Street. The next Wingham BIA board meeting will be held on, it's a change of date here, is going to be held on Thursday, April 25th, 2024 at 6:30 in the Hot Stove Lounge at the North Huron West Cask Community Complex. The next Blythe BIA board meeting will be held on Thursday, April 25th, 2024 at 8 a.m. in the Blythe and District Community Center. And I just want to mention this evening, just got a letter from the Wingham Litter Cleanup. It will be held on Monday, April 22nd, and we're meeting at the train station at 8:30. If you have a desire to go around, clean up garbage. It helps beautify the town, and I know they get a nice few people out there. It makes a short morning with more hands, and again, it's going to be a good time. But Mr. Mulvey is going to be running that. Closed session and reporting out. No other business before I move on? Seeing none. Closed session and reporting out that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby proceeds at 7:01 to an in-camera session closed to the public under section 239(2)(e) of the Municipal Act to discuss the following: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before an administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Direction regarding potential litigation and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Update on potential personal litigation matter, and further that the Chief Administrative Officer, item 1 and 2 remain, the Director of Legislative Service Clerk, item 1 and 2, the Director of Finance Treasurer, item 1, Kyle David, AON, item 1, the Director of Recreation Child Services, item 2, and the Human Resource, Health and Safety Coordinator, item 2, remain in attendance. Mover, Counselor Deputy Reeve, seconder, Counselor McBurney, all in favor. Carried.